The second thing that Jesus teaches us here on prayer is to pray with a clear conscience. To pray with a clear conscience. Jesus says in verse 25, "And whenever you stand praying, if you have anything against anyone, forgive him, that your Father in heaven may also forgive you your trespasses." Jesus is saying that you cannot rightly pray. You cannot rightly pray while holding anything against anyone else. He said your prayers are hindered. Jesus is saying here that forgiveness is a priority over prayer. He's saying, again, he said, if you come to pray while you have a grudge against somebody, just don't even bother. Your prayer is just going to hit the ceiling, and that's it. It's an offense to God to pray while holding a grudge against someone. Now this brings up two questions, I believe. First of all, what does it mean to have something against someone? And secondly, what does it mean to forgive them? As we highlight these things, I would encourage you to be reflecting on your situation. Are there grudges? Are there people that you hold something against? Well, first of all, what does it mean to hold something against someone? It means that someone has offended you. Has that ever happened? Anyone offended you ever? Someone has offended you, but you have not lovingly, humbly, and patiently dealt with the situation. Someone has offended you, but you have not lovingly, humbly, and patiently dealt with the issue. Jesus says that's holding that against them. It's allowing that offense to remain alive as a cancer. You're holding it against them. You're holding that offense alive. It means that you've not approached the person and confessed your own fault in the matter, assuming that God has given you eyes to see that there's always two sides to an offense, at least when it comes to sinners. So are you holding anything against anyone? Jesus says, forgive. Don't even bother praying. Don't even go through religious motions if you're bearing something against someone. So that means we have some work to do. Every one of us has some work to do in forgiving those whom we hold things against, which brings up the second question, what does it mean to forgive? Now, this is not the place to go into a full treatment of forgiveness, but we can say a couple things about this. Interestingly, Jesus, of course, elsewhere says that to forgive someone, you should go and communicate with that person. But here, he says it's even something that can take place internally. Right? While you stand, and whenever you stand praying, if you have anything against anyone, forgive him. Here, at least, he doesn't even say that we have to go and communicate with the person. Now, elsewhere he does, but here he doesn't, which seems to suggest that we can forgive even apart from that person's awareness. Forgiveness, then, is a resolution, is a resolve to not hold that offense against the person. To not hold it against them. Yes, it happened. Yes, it was hurtful. But to not hold it against them. And we can do that in at least three ways. Not holding it against them. First of all, don't hold it against them even in your mind. It means don't even do your best to not think about the offense. When it comes up, ask the Lord to suppress it. In other words, reflecting and keep thinking about and going over and over in your mind on someone else's offense is not forgiveness, right? It's still holding it against them, even if it's only in your own mind. Secondly, to forgive means to not hold an offense against the other person in conversation. Now, unless there's very good reason to do so, this means that you don't even bring up the other person's offense to anyone else. Unless there's very good reason to do so, unless you need help with reconciliation and so forth. But don't hold it against them in conversation. You know, that's a very sneaky way of holding things against someone, by sharing it with someone else. You know, leave the person's name out of it then, if you need to do that. But don't hold it against them in conversation. Thirdly, don't hold it against them in actions. That if you do see the person, communicate with the person, they should be struck with the sense that you've forgiven them. Now, does that mean the relationship will be magically healed? No. But it means they will be struck by something that has happened in your heart, that you're not holding this offense against them. You are free from that offense. They might still be bound by it in their conscience, but you've been freed as you communicate these resolves with the Lord. I would suggest that these things are particularly relevant in the family. Most of us only see our family members, at least for the most part, throughout the course of a week. And so it's our family who's offending us, right? We tend to hurt those whom we're the closest to. And the Apostle Peter even talks about how the way that a husband treats his wife can be a hindrance to his prayer life. A hindrance to his prayer life, due to perhaps lack of forgiveness. So the point that we need to get here is that prayers from a forgiveness begrudging heart, a heart that begrudges forgiveness, that continues to hold things against others, is an offense to God and are not to be offered.